How does a person stay poor and never become rich in America? Well, I'm going to tell you in this video. Hey, my name is Stannis, and I talk about financial related videos, and I'll show you my personal journey to wealth. So one way a person stays poor in America is they avoid further education and skill development. This just leads to them just probably getting their first job and then just sticking with that job for the rest of their life. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. They could just start their career right after high school pretty much. Just choose like the first job that hires them and then just stick with that job indefinitely. Or maybe they'll bounce around a little bit and then eventually just be like 50 or 60 and then they don't have that many skills or that much education. You are able to maybe like provide for yourself a little bit, but you're definitely going to be hindering your potential income over the years. If we look over this graph, we can see that obviously having a higher degree or more education leads to you having more money. This is just like weekly earnings pretty much. But as you can see, high school diploma, yeah, you're going to make some money, but you get some college, associate's degree, and then eventually a bachelor's degree. You see a big jump into around $1,400. And then as you keep on going on, you can eventually start to talk about the opportunity cost of you just going to work and getting a lot of money, or further education to maybe make a little more money. When you're highly skilled, it's going to be easier for you to find jobs. Unlike when you are not very skilled, you're pretty much expendable. You can pretty much get fired, get picked up. Some random person can just pick up that job the same day that you left, and training usually isn't that intense. So it's really easy for companies just to train somebody real quick and just replace you. The more you become very skilled in a subject and you specialize, you're going to be able to charge a lot higher for your work, and you're going to be able to maintain your job pretty much because nobody else can really replace you that easily. Another way you could continue to stay being poor in America is if you neglect financial literacy. If you neglect finances in total and you just kind of like just get money and then you just spend it and then you have enough for your month until you get paid again, it's going to hinder your future, especially if you don't invest for yourself down the line, because you might have a job right now, but eventually you might get laid off or you might get hurt or something, then you're no longer able to make the same amount of money that you are currently. So it's important for you to look forward into your life and see if you could actually make any more money or you spend your money more wisely down the line. It's important to actually know some of this information as well and not depend on somebody solely, because if you just depend on somebody, then you're more likely to be taken advantage of if you don't know anything else besides like, yeah, this person's gonna take care of me. Just give them all my money and just leave it at that. For some people that might work, but once again, if you don't know anything about it, then you're just kind of just blindly handing your savings and your life pretty much to somebody else, and they may not take that as seriously as you will. So it's very important for you to take a look over your finances and determine what your goals are and how you want to keep on pursuing your life. Look over this article. 75% of American teens lack confidence in their knowledge of personal finance. 25% of Americans say they don't have anyone they can ask for trusted financial guidance. 23% of U.S. adults ages 18 to 29 have credit card debt that's over 90 days overdue. And Americans owe over $1.03 trillion in credit card debt as of quarter 2 2023. Basically, from these key takeaways that I just read off right here, you kind of see that financial literacy isn't that prevalent in America, and it really should be. It's kind of up to you to venture out and look for this information. It's one thing to know that financial literacy is important, but it's another thing to actually go and learn about it. I know that school should provide probably a financial literacy class or something like that, but if you're just going to wait around and eventually wait for the school system to change around and provide financial literacy, then you might be waiting a while. So yeah, eventually maybe it will change, but I wouldn't wait around for it. I'd just go out and venture it out. There's a lot of trustworthy sources that you can go to get very basic information on just financial literacy. Yeah, most of this information is free too. You don't have to pay anybody a crazy amount to actually learn the insides and out of the financial world. It's usually pretty cut and dry, and like I said, it's generally free. All you have to do is just look out for it. I got another article from Random Solutions. Pretty much it says 88% of U.S. adults said that high school did not leave them fully prepared for how to handle money in the real world. 3 in 4 U.S. adults said in the years after high school, they often, 32%, or sometimes 42%, felt stressed because of money. 72% of U.S. adults said they would be further ahead with their money today if they had a personal finance class in high school. Only 17% of U.S. adults said they took a personal finance class in high school, very low amount. Gen Z is the most likely generation to have taken a personal finance course in high school. U.S. adults adults who took a personal finance class are 5 times more likely to say they graduated high school fully prepared for handling money in the real world. So yeah, once again, you can't just trust the school system. You got to go out and look for this information. If anything, it's going to be more reliable and it's going to be more up to date than relying on a class curriculum in your high school class. So yeah, just go out there. You just go on YouTube. Generally, information found on YouTube is pretty good, but you could always just look more into it if you think that the information you're getting isn't that trustworthy. Generally, it is all the same, and everybody's usually giving pretty decent information, especially for like the lower level knowledges of finance. Once you start getting a little bit higher end concepts of finance, might get a little bit tricky, but generally the basics are the basics, and they're pretty easy to describe and explain. Another way that people keep themselves poor in America is they continue to spend more than what they actually make. And they're able to do this basically by the use of credit cards or just borrowing money from some other source. Bottom line, if you are just taking out money just to spend and like support your lifestyle, you are hurting yourself, number one. So it's really important for you to actually make a budget. In this case, a budget really helps with this type of problem because you're actually taking a look into your finances, right? And seeing how much you actually make, instead of just being like, oh yeah, I probably have enough money to afford this. It's going to allow you to be more conscious on your spending, and you're no longer going to be like, yeah, this is like $5 here and there, and you could afford it. But in reality, you're probably not able to afford $5 every single day for a drink and then continued on expenses throughout the week. So it's really important for you to actually look into how much you're making, how much you're spending every month, and see where you can cut back. And then eventually you're going to want to focus your money into your actual interests instead of just spending your money everywhere. And I know it might be really attractive to just spend a lot of money on really fancy stuff, really fancy luxury items that are like pretty rare, but in reality, nobody cares what you have compared to everybody else. Especially if you can't afford it, then people are going to know this eventually. And there's no way this person is able to afford this. They're just breaking the bank just to look cool. If anything, if you can't really afford it, don't get it. It's fine if you can't afford it right now. Eventually you will. But right now, just focus on the stuff that's really important and the stuff that's going to get you ahead in life instead of just acting like you're there. Another common way that people stay poor in America is they ignore their savings and investments. You might be able to live paycheck to paycheck for quite some time, but if a setback happens, then it could set you back, drastically causing you to go into debt or having a downsize from your current arrangement to something more cost effective. This can also prevent you from getting ahead and being able to make long-lasting changes to your life, like buying a home or being able to spend money on once-in-a-lifetime experiences. Savings and investments are seen as an afterthought. Most people want to just spend their money on their basic necessities, and then everything else goes into just living your best life and going out, doing all these fancy dinners, buying a bunch of random stuff that you might not really care about, but things that you might think like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. I want to spend some money on it. That's fine, yeah. But in reality, you're just wasting a lot of money, wasting money and time for no good reason. While saving up in the beginning might seem discouraging, especially since it might be like a little amount that you're only able to put towards your accounts. In the long run, it will be worth it, especially if you can continue to stick with. It's really important to build that muscle memory of just saving a good amount of money every single month and then just putting away and not really touching your savings. If you just do that, you're going to be better off than most people who just don't save at all and then not have a emergency fund or anything like that. And then you're going to be able to, a bare minimum, cover costs when problems happen in your life. You're not going to be derailed if you lose your job for a couple months. You'll be able to survive. Baseline is pretty important just to survive in this world. By saving, investing, you're also going to be able to get ahead and actually start thinking about your retirement and probably your kids, and you're going to be able to share more wealth, would be able to if you just didn't have any money in your later years. If we look over average retirement savings balance by age, you can see that under 35 people are having $30K in their savings account, and then once you reach 35 to 44, it's $130K, 45 to 54, $254,000, 55 to 64, $408,000, and then 65 to 74, $426,000. This is the average. If you're a fan of the median, which excludes outliers, giving a more reasonable look into what Americans have in their wallet, then under 35 you have $13,000 in retirement. 35 to 54 you have around $60,000, and then 45 to 54 $100,000, 55 to 64 $134,000, 65 to 74 $164,000. You can look at this and then see where you are compared to this random information I found online, but it doesn't matter where you are right now. if you're ahead of it or behind it. It's important to save money and then look towards your future. For some of you, this might be a wake-up call, like, hey, I have way less than everybody else. Maybe I should start saving. Yeah, you probably should. Or like, hey, I got a lot more than what I have for my average or the median. You're doing a pretty good job. So just keep on going, keep on grinding. Another way you can hinder yourself and maintaining your poor status in America is if you don't change jobs and you avoid opportunities for advancement. By changing jobs, you're able to increase the money that you're able to be paid compared to your previous job. Obviously, you're going to want to line up your next job prior to actually quitting your job, hopefully, so you can actually secure that income and secure that next step in your life. But if you're unable to, then you can still continue to look for more jobs. And now with the experience under your belt, you're able to leverage yourself higher than you were to the normal employer. Because your normal employer, yeah, they already have you as an employee. They're not going to really want to pay you more to just so you can be happy. Like, they're gonna pay you a little bit more just to keep you around, and then maybe like limit the effects of inflation just barely. But in the long term, they're not gonna break their back just to keep you. Let's say you really do enjoy your job and you want to stay there for a very long time. You don't look for opportunities to move up in the ladder, and you just kind of maintain yourself at the one spot that you kind of like. Then eventually you're just gonna decrease in performance, and then you might be eligible to just get kicked out of the company. You're gonna want to just keep on increasing your knowledge in your field and keep on striving to move up in the ladder to show that you're able to continue to learn. That's really important, is continuing to learn. You're willing to take more responsibility than everybody else, because not a lot of people, it's like one thing to be the worker, but it's really important to get into manager roles and then start being really trusted with the company that you're in, so you can start getting paid more, and then you become really valuable to the company, so you're very unlikely to become kicked from that company. And if you do eventually leave, you're more marketable to different companies because you have been heavily experienced in your field for quite some time. Another way you can stay poor in America is if you avoid networking and building relationships in your workplace, or just outside in the public and your social networks in general. If you don't really talk too much and you're kind of introverted, it might hinder you in actually trying to find jobs that can help you a little more, or that you find more suitable to you. If you don't really express your opinions and discuss with other people your views and see what other people are interested in as well. Like, if you start building a circle people you really trust and people that have common interests with you, then you're more likely to keep on pursuing your interest more heavily, and you're able to go a little bit deeper than anybody else, especially if you're just doing it yourself. You might get new ideas that are able to help you significantly. You can only get so far by yourself also, but if you're able to leverage yourself by using your connections to spring yourself into opportunities that would otherwise be difficult to come across, then you can see how valuable a network can be. It's also really nice to have a social circle that includes a bunch of people that have a common interest as you, and you're able to support each other and you're reaching your goals. Another way that you can stay poor in America is by just staying in debt. Obviously, by staying in debt, you are continuing to make payments on interest and make somebody else rich. If it's possible for you to get rid of debt, get rid of it. Having an abundance of debt is going to keep you from reaching any financial goals that you really want to achieve. It's going to keep you from making risky opportunities that might work out for you in the long run, because you're just not able to afford anything due to debt. And you're gonna have to there's always gonna be a kind of like a rainy cloud over your head, knowing that you have to pay somebody back, instead of just knowing that, hey, you're good. All you have to do is just save for yourself and just work for yourself at this point. You don't gotta work for anybody else and give somebody money just to survive, or like just for them to keep the government out of your life and potentially go to jail or have them garnish your wages or anything like that. And lastly, if you really want to stay poor in America, just ignore your health. A person who ignores their health are more likely to die faster, obviously, and they're going to spend more money on pretty much killing themselves instead of just trying to live longer and take care of their body. As you get older, you're going to be going through more problems with your body, especially if you don't have that good of health insurance. You're going to be spending a lot more money on health-related expenses, and otherwise, if you were just healthy when you were younger and you took care of yourself, you wouldn't be spending more money to just survive now. Get out there and exercise, eat well. Well, there you have it. I gave you the formula how to stay poor in America. Hopefully you don't do any of this stuff and you do the opposite and you become rich in America and you live a long life and you don't have to suffer because of it. This has been Stannis. I'll see you guys again.